The program na Salon today where they come to you live from Radio Democracy 98.1 FM. As I don't introduce me studio guests earlier, we in Melvin Tijan Mansari with the inside the program this afternoon for looking inside the issue of Lara Telopias as Unamino get issue concerning misconduct we according to governments na dan they them been say this woman do together with in deputy Tamba Momo. And same way so recently we Suicide Institute of Chartered Accountants and pull a press statement wherein then say they don't see anything like misconduct. But this particular issue now in a parliament and a member of parliament them will determine whether they will vote for remove this woman and in deputy. Well, for can know more about this issue, make we get Melvin Tijan Mansari inside the program this afternoon. Same way so we expect for get Solomon Sundu we in a civil society we don't monitor different issues them in the country. But firstly, let's start off with you, Melvin. Waiting so far don't they happen at parliament before we start for look at Lara in issue to be specific.
Well, the whole of last week, Parliament, members of Parliament been getting 5 days spirited debate on the address of the President on the occasion of the state opening of the second session of the 6th Parliament, in which we see for the first time after very solid and profound debates for the achievements of the President from the SLPP bench and against some of the imputations and the speech by the opposition, we see ultimately for the very first time this presiding speaker, Honorable Ibrahim Tawa Conte, being able to summon the presence of ministers like Basic Education, Minister of Finance, Minister of Agriculture, and they all been in a parliament for respond to some of the questions, and that was quite unprecedented. Also, we don't see parliament before that we don't confirm some presidential nominees, and yes, we still they expect parliament to announce the new compositions of committees and members to international delegations, and of course we expect the debates on the removal of the Auditor General all coming up. Let me not forget this is on the aftermath of MPs coming from 2 months or so break, we then call sessional recess, and now they are back. And yes, they are back, but we see the house still the grapple with low turnouts and late starts of sitting. We don't become a commonplace. So yeah, the business of parliament don't thrive, and yes, government's on the move from the legislative standpoint.
All right. As I mentioned earlier on, you know, a senior colleague, and you don't report on parliament issues for a very, very long time now. But the PAC now one of the committee them where people over the past year don't raise concern about them function we are in. So Monday alleged say they not only see the visibility of this committee, but recently we see also the deputy speaker Honorable Ibrahim Tawa, you know, may not start for go upline and call different ministry, departments and agency. As a senior colleague and parliamentary reporter for a long time now, how you go assess this current PAC the activity?
Well, I think say the PAC, we don't see life, we don't see energy, we don't see much seriousness and impact to the point that we see the PAC don't make some serious recoveries of cash losses recorded. We don't see the PAC don't issue out orders asking individuals or institutions for pay monies owed, whether as withholding taxes or as the case may be. And yes, we are waiting the reports of the PAC because they've been engaging for the last three months under the leadership of Honorable Tawa and that. So we look forward to the reports. But the PAC, another interesting fact, for once we don't get an idea of itinerary of what is to be expected, and what is to be expected is that they have a long list of ministries, departments and agencies that are slated to come before them. And also we expect that the PAC will go on an oversight for see for themselves what obtains in some of these projects on paper. So when it comes to the PAC, we don't see a reinvigoration of the approach, and they don't look very thematic and strategic. And it's good for accountability. Ironically, this is coming at a time that the fate of the suspended Auditor General hangs on the parliamentary scale, and how will a decision for remove him or not remove him affect the work of the PAC is anybody's guess. But it has been an interesting PAC under Honorable Ibrahim Tawa Conte. We look forward to in the second session who are going to be the members in this committee and what's going to be the role of the opposition in this committee. As always said, the PAC in some other countries is headed by the leader of the opposition or somebody from the opposition bench, but according to the standing orders of the Sierra Leone Parliament, the PAC is headed by the Deputy Speaker, and in this case, the Deputy Speaker is a member of the government bench, the SLPP. So, moving forward, many people are campaigning and are touting the notion of, well, should the PAC, even if you now get a chairman from the opposition, but can the PAC have a deputy chairperson that can at least help to hold a proportionate scale when it comes to fairness, impartiality, and what we call vicious attack when it comes to, yes, what has been not been accounted for to be accounted for. So the expectations are very high on the PAC, and I hope the members the NSSF know that.
Right, as you say, the expectation of the PAC very, very high. We see the steps them we Honorable Ibrahim Tawa Conte don't take this BNTM, but plenty people again get another thought, say it gets for reach a peak wherein the deputy when the PAC chairman no go able to probe into certain issue them due to maybe in political affiliation. In any way you foresee some of the issues there?
Well, Parliament is a house of politics, and they can say a government cannot hold itself accountable. That's why you need a formidable and a solid opposition. And I always done to say the length at which the PAC will go depends on how much latitude and leverage, for example, the presidency will give them. For example, Wallace Johnson Street or SLPP party headquarters will give them, and above all, the kind of freedom where the leadership of parliaments will give them. Because at the end of the day, it's about government, it's about a governing party, and I'm sure if you want to go too hard, there will be calls coming from here and there. But the chairman always done the say, he is preoccupied, he is not concerned about, well, what next. But he's there to make sure that he doing job, and whatever consequences come after a damn. So I think that's the ideology. And yes, you get the members like Honorable Aaron Aruna Kuruma, very experienced, very professional, very in-depth when it comes to issues around transparency and accountability and accounting and finance. So I think it's a good pair, and other members also they know this guy. Although we get so many members, they will know the talk, then I'll look no more they can get for go look. I don't know if by virtue of waiting and account at the table. But moving forward, I think yes, those two members, particular Honorable Tawa and Honorable Aaron, they've been representing the PAC as a whole very well, and we hope that in the next session, then bring people that way more financially minded, more administratively minded, more banking minded. Because for me, I think the PAC should be a specialized committee. Also, say we go put person number because of sometimes they talk fine English, or because they get fine smile, or things like that. You should be grounded in either finance, banking, accountability, and transparency, and all those administrative issues. And I think with the small role we don't see with Honorable Tawa and Honorable Aaron and few others, I think that if we give Sierra Leoneans some hope that, well, if they are given the freedom without any interference, any influence, any arm stringing, without any protectionism, I think they can deliver. And by so doing, there is not much work for the ACC if the PAC is robust and firebrand.
Alright. Thank you for the update today. In Melvin Tijan Mansare just give a full update about things so far we don't happen at Parliament. As I tell on earlier on, we get inside the studio now. Solomon Sunduwe, the Executive Director for Biwanki Foundation, as we there for look into the issue of Lara Taylor Pierce as Parliament gets the final, saying into this issue. Good afternoon, Mr. Sunduwe. Welcome to Radio Democracy.
Good afternoon, Usman. Good afternoon, listeners and viewers on Facebook.
All right, well, I'll go make my guest rest a little bit, and when we come back, we will start for looking to the issue proper. We'll go for a short. The program na Salon today will come to you live from Radio Democracy 98.1 FM. Still inside the studios, we get Solomon Sundu, Executive Director for Biwanki Foundation. Mr. Sundu has announced earlier on, we'll look into the issue of Lara. And in Deputy Tamba Momo, we are in government being set up tribunal. We get for do with different judge them who say go with them in court because of misconduct and other things there. Firstly, what do you think about that particular situation there? Which is on a position from the civil society standpoint?
This program done overdue, so when it starts the tribunal, it open to everybody, and some of we be attend to the tribunal. We see I will go on. A lot of things happen, and when they done, the tribunal send the report to the president, and we see exactly what they recommend from the Attorney General's office. Make you do all the necessary, procedure as to how Parliament go sit down and see how them for remove the, suspended Auditor General. We don't bring on a lot of concerns because we all only talk about how audits integral, into governance, and we all see where this, administration take over. The mantra might be the audits. We see how they go back, then set up, the transitional committee, look into all the past activities of the then administration, and bring out a lot of things we lead up to the commissions of inquiry, the COI, for which we all be take part for, sensitize the public how the commissions of inquiry not to which owns now a lay down, constitutional provisions for the president for look into the past administration of in predecessor and see Usai go wrong and how them for able for ratify them. We see white paper come out, they recommend, some people don't go through, now based on the Auditor General's report. All what we can say, like what I meet, the previous speaker they say, or updates about Parliament. We want to see outside Parliament, we not then not the boss, I can say, for Auditor General's office. We don't want to see that compilation of audit reports because that don't they happen over the years. If really Parliaments be they do them work well, properly, we're not going to get then barrage of audit reports, we for make it lead to commissions of inquiry and the like. We hope say within this PA system or committee don't begin, we headed by Tawa, then we'll continue for do the work for the people of Sierra Leone. Audit reports as they come out, we don't want to see anti-corruption they jump in inside. We want to see inside Parliament they do their own vetting. They make sure say they call the appropriate ministries, departments, and agencies for make the answer to waiting the Auditor General's office say for irregularities, because I can always say audits not to courts, but a day for probe for see outside discrepancies then they within administrative business or running of the state. I will use a case in points like, for example, procurement. Most of the things they see not through the thing and we see say leakages they happen. People they go about doing government functional without going through the due processes. Yeah, for example, like 98.1, we see there before Kaya na invites, but we don't prepare your program, then you call me at the nick of time where I'm not even prepare myself for consider. So audit for me, if you for buy fridge, you for buy computer, laptop for your office, waiting that they tell you, then say go through the proper channel. You get forget to that the requisite for them. You get for go through the various departments who are responsible for approval. You get for make sure say the internal auditor mark you all ministries, departments, and agencies get internal auditors. And where the external auditors they can way would they relate to the Auditor Generals. Now based on the internal auditing they make, except otherwise. That is what we are saying. All ministries, departments, and agencies, technical people where did it, or technocrats the way did it, they not mix pan politics. They not involve themselves in politics because they work a distinct. Procurement officer, do you work due diligently.
Alright.
You na, human resource person, do you work due diligently? You na accountant, everybody. So for me, let we know they keep the audit reports, let the pile and insinuate trouble, because it happen over the years, and I hope say going further we're not going to get any kind of thing. In relation to the removal of this recommended removal of the auditor general, I think so the parliament we dey expect them for make them do their work. President don't recommend, then get a separate arm of government. Mark, you get the executive, the legislative, the judiciary, right? So it don't reach their own points. Well, woman go see some man say no will take part, but for me I the advice, whether you in opposition, whether you dey in the ruling party, but for good governance sake, una take part on the debates, because it don't dey on a fold. Una gets now for do una own part. You can never see who say okay, it don't dey happen. Former president don't make appointments. We say in the case of former President Tijan Kaba, blessed memory, who say make appointments, parliament reject her. We want to begin see let parliament be their own. Yeah?
Okay.
Let them do their own work. Let them look into the recommendations. Who say then say it possible for do waiting correct for the people of Sierra Leone. Make them do them. But for say we not go take part, then we don't go to the majority.
Okay. Now the point where plenty people concerned, but now that in the first place, why government for recommend for let them pull Lara? Because Lara just doing work as way for call out things them or show the wrong with certain person they do na some offices.
Well, over the period we don't hear about inconsistencies, irregularities, about disclosure of informations that the intangibles within work. But we don't see who say is it a case, we Institute of Chartered Accountants, they don't say the Auditor General they do in your work. My point here is, even though they make some recommendations that the Auditor General for look into foreign donors or whatever, for me I not take that recommendation there for be anything, any money with the kind of Sierra Leone, whether na UN Senate, whether na under any donor a come to for make sure see the auditor, they audit that particular finance, right? So for me, for where government say they may get issue because the Auditor General based on the presidency, right, for make a probe into a certain thing in the way if we be doing all do now that then say it's not correct. So if then we don't base the young administration on the previous audit report, now then say this policy how we do this work. I can recall, I think one time was it in 2021 or 22 report we can on timber, if the memory serves me well, I stand to be corrected. We are in about cubic meter. It put out a report. At the end of the day, it come back and correct say no, because parliament we don't already say the cubic meter. Now this, I think, it's a miscommunication between them. That's why we are saying the parliament and the Auditor General's office. Therefore, make sure say they do something properly. When reports come, make them do their work. So for me, in line with what you say, the one with IRM, yeah, now in say the woman no consistent in a job where they do. Then set up a tribunal. Tribunal don't recommend. Well, at the other colleagues that they say, then for don't make sure say even if not the judge, but forget financial background. But they look at the law aspect. Now that's me look at. So we expect now much from the parliamentarians or with representation of parliament for make them do the needful.
Alright, I'll come over to you, Melvin. We see recent or some time back we are in government recommend for the removal of Lara Taylor Pierce, but parliament get the final saying into this. But firstly, you may expect government on this for let them recommend for pull Lara, where plenty people believe say Lara just mean doing work as way for all government accountable for letting them misuse the country resources.
I'm not surprised, because it takes a government that is bold enough, that is honest enough, that is sincere enough for turn the camera to himself. And I'm not surprised for the fact that we don't see State House issue any statements for deny or accept the reality as per the findings of alleged fake receipts. And I'm not surprised because the mode of operations of the removal itself, whether the suspension should have come first or whether the investigation coming first, that also. I'm not surprised because there was a prayer before the Supreme Court seeking some clarification on section 137 and the subsection where the government used for pull the Auditor General, and that prayer in the Supreme Court is not being looked into. So for me, I know that many times governments don't want to feel embarrassed, and once that is the case, they can go whatever length and breadth for cover up the mess. Then they. So for me, I'm not surprised. What I'm surprised at is the fact that the government in think tanks, in policy makers, the analysts, them not envisage that it was a move towards the dead end. It was a move in futility. And for me, that's the most bizarre part, that in all of these moves for removal, they not count the cost. And here, counting the cost means doing the number crunching, doing the permutation and the calculations, because at the end of the day, you need to understand that 2/3 is 99 MPs, and that consists of 66.44%, and the SLPP hold a simple majority of 81 MPs, which constitute 54.36%. The APC gets 54 MPs, which constitute 32.24%. There are 14 PC MPs, constitute 9.4%. In fact, that figure, I suspect, according to reports, I cannot confirm it here, there is one seriously or gravely ill paramount chief, and that is a local saying for what you already know it is. So imagine that there is a -1 already in that 14. So what is there to be noted is the fact that not the APC, not the SLPP, nobody not get 2/3. And if we also note that even if SLPP MP and all the PC MPs then vote, then they remove, when they remove Lara, that will still constitute 95 MPs, which is 63%. It still not meets up, add up to the threshold, and it means at least they will need something like 4 MPs from the APC for give them the 99 threshold. And it's an interesting fact, if APC again want for say then they veto this action, let me not forget, then we need something like 45 MPs, all 14 paramount chiefs, and some coming from the SLPP. Is that going to be possible? It's a matter of let's wait and see. But the fact remains that the number game not the add up. And when I hear somebody say APC say they're not going for participate and the voting, and that's a question. Then vote or not vote, so the votes cannot kill the issue except otherwise. And for me, I say it could be a disservice on the part of the APC if it indeed come out so be say they're not the vote, because if they're not vote, it means say then they hide something, and within that thing they, as it stands, we know say inside the APC then figures of 54 MPs, there are already 2 out of the fold, and the SLPP need just 2 more. And when I say 2 out of the fold, you talk about Honorable Mohamed Bangura and Honorable Thompson. We've seen them not voting in line with the APC, so that is -2. So I will suspect that the APC go out for Fenway for cover up and say, well, we need to take part in the vote for in case any 2 of them, 2 additional 2 will become mischievous and give SLPP the 99. If the APC sit down and members of their own bench, up to 4 members of them go take side with the APC, it will mean a serious slap on the formidability, the cohesion, and the potency of the opposition bench. So that is an interesting look ahead. The ball no more than SLPP courts for produce the numbers, but also SLPP will pull the numbers now one. Then will APC keep their numbers is another one. So it's an interesting political spectacle we are hoping to see in the House of Parliament. And the long and short remains, if Parliament not able to remove them, what's next? And for me, I think that's the secondary aspect, because that would be a matter now for the Supreme Court for interpret. But interestingly or paradoxically, there is already an unanswered prayer in the Supreme Court over the primacy or legitimacy of the tribunal. So, in case there is a gridlock in Parliament not able for remove Lara, we want to see whether the Supreme Court will go look into any prayer where the clerk or the speaker will put before the Supreme Court first, or then go look inside Lara and your case secondary. That would be an interesting look for the judiciary. So I don't think the courts of politics will resolve this issue, which is Parliament, because if the courts of law has not been able to stand the cause, I'm afraid. So it's an uncharted territory, and now I'm really surprised that the government, it's all in policy makers, think tanks, analysts, advisors, they could not understand or envisage that this, let me try and say, we might not be able to get success. And for me, that is surprising.
All right, now before we can look into Parliament issue, the concern again where people don't raise now that this not to the first term where audit service salon the audits the office of the president. The last time we get Tamba Momo, they say former president Kumai office they not able account for over $600 million or something. But they say they may receive the report with open hand and then try for fix something there. But in this case, we see something contrary. We are in the audit service salon. We try for put things them in place. We see now that them deeper. Now the people we put the president in name into disarray. Which you think are the best thing the president for don't do to them people in terms of the secretary to the president when they handle in administrative business?
I think the SLPP government, they've been more political on this issue than more governmental, because there is a difference between politics. Politics basically thrives to get power and represent political parties' interest, whereas governance seeks to protect the wishes and aspirations of the people in tandem with basic best practices. So it has been political for the fact that the government has been covering up whatever alleged mess, and in that case, if the government for be very prudent, they will use the governance yardstick in ensuring that firstly a internal probe be mounted na State House there for ascertain, and if that probe in outcome come out publicly, say well this can be say so but not so true or not true, and if not been true, the one that will be responsible for this. Let me understand, this is not about the president but the presidency, and there is a thin line. The president is in charge of the presidency, but in the presidency there are other players within. So if the accusation was on officials in the presidency, it was just but fitting for the presidency for use a governance lens and say, okay, let me set these people aside, or like within the same yardstick where they use for Lara, use the same yardstick for whosoever na be the vote controller, whosoever na be the fiduciary stakeholder day for their answer to question. But that was not done. Instead, the attention was and the efforts and action and energy was negatively dedicated to the Auditor General. It's quite unfortunate for a government to see the defeat corruption. In this case, they've not been able to say whether it's true or untrue within the Lara say, and also we see they amplify efforts in silencing her. I am not a fan of the Auditor General because I don't believe any more time I'm doing a saint. We all have our weaknesses, but apparently the way how the SLPP government will handle the situation, it left little or no room for lepers not convince they are not clean panda allegation. And it's quite unfortunate for accountability, public administration, public financial management, and all of those things. So I don't think the government, that they've been more political, using all avenues or options in the courts or in the laws, but apparently the real issues they've run away from by keeping silence about them.
Okay. Over to you, Mr. Sundu. People allege that the issue of Lara N in deputy don't mix with politics, because Tamba Momo make and clear and I say, even though there is concern back, say they don't audit FCC, but it say now the current acting Auditor General, when Mr. Abdul Aziz, mean 9 days in charge of council and other office system. It say why they suspended and left Aziz na the office when 9 days in charge of. You think say politics don't play into this issue?
Well, if you listen to me early submissions, I talk about professionals. And I can always say this in my good governance program: professionals don't mortgage your professionalism. Be you journalists, call you civil society, accountants, or wherever. Do your job. Don't meld yourself into politics. For me, that reason for say, then delegate responsibilities to different, heads. For example, why you go audit others, then you not audit city council? Then for me, you get your subordinates as a auditor general. Sometimes when you talk to the dog, you have to talk to the bone as well. You job, now you job. Whether APC day or SLPP day, at the end of the day, now for the people of Sierra Leone, they work. Not so for an individual or not so political party. Right? As you likely say, if city council, the way did it now, why then the auditor general at that time, even in the tribe union, for example, these are the issues we want for letting they raise. These are the issues, even one the way they talk. These are the even the Institute of Chartered Accountants for don't come up with some of the areas, right? Because I saw lawyer for Taylor Pierce. I'm not talking about whether the tribunal in set one it be correct, Supreme Court get for Sidon. He's the president that took the power. Waiting it do for eliminate the auditor general like any chief justice and the provision the president use. So for me, I know you talk about the presidency. Asking for if the presidency not to be audited, I think say now that's who puts in there for. And President Bio say in own administration, he no get no secret cow. You ask a question, if the one the way do this mistake. I'll be talking on one of our programs say, if I were the president, not only to dent the presidency, right, but those who were involved, because always in the president's need, they don't set in plan say they will go to England or United Nations, always in need the Ministry of Finance, or then we there within that department, you understand, and they get for requisites say we need this, how many people for go. So I think say then people here, believe you me, the president or like way we they say, even the presidential spokesperson for don't come out and say all those who were in that platform or working, either they don't pull any or then suspend them for investigations and all of that. Now make a decision not involve politics into a professional job, because at the end of the day, you the individual, now you the dent yourself. You the individual way did it. Well, let's say for example, if I were alive right now, the man we didn't know when Abdul Aziz not able for audit, I for don't raise up them point and day that he is the man. I appoint him for make it go do the job. He not do the job. Who knows if whether not be undermining the whole process as well. So for me, let professionals don't mortgage their professionalism. Whether you're a lawyer, accountant, whatever, if you held a position, do and due diligently, not mix politics. And when you go to that office, don't go there with your political act. Or I go serve SAPP, or no. That would be no. In those days, we know civil servants for be professional. The politics for the inside you. We don't see what's in that happen around the world. I think it's Sierra Leone we say for on the land. Yeah? We will work within governance. They pay you the taxpayers' money. Work for the people of Sierra Leone, not a political party you go serve. Yeah? Or individual benefits, or you go work for individual. Or you go there for a smear because this person don't say they fight corruption. You say go there for dent. Don't do that, because at the end of the day, they always going to suffer. So they will only talk this. But would that bear the greatest responsibility? Now, Lyra and deputy. Yeah, even though they will get other job, they try for cleansing the name. But what has been done cannot be undone. The wrongs have been done. So that is my point. As I mentioned, I just know mistakes. They don't be there and there. Where they do your work, you as the head, you subordinate. Yeah, make sure say you do regular monitoring. Make sure say you go into the job. Make sure say you do proper supervisions. Because if you went at the head, like what they talk about the president now, all this what they happen about corruptions in the presidency, he could not be the president himself, but those who are under him or under the president's office or state house. You understand? So you be the head, be proactive, not reactive. That is my point.
Okay. So if finally Parliament agree and vote Lara and deputy for go, what does this mean?
Well, I think saying that the arm of government for me, I don't work in my own view.
You think it's not the best way?
No, well, it's not. It could not be the best way. It could not be the best way, right? But now the arm of government don't work.
Even if the arm of government don't work.
Well, that is what we are saying.
The question that waiting this mean.
Let's not forget
for accountability. When I guess say Lara in issue or audit service the issue, don't they come with make development partner them some man the question. The accountability issue in the country.
That is what I'm saying.
Yeah, so if they vote Lara out, waiting this mean you think say we go able to get that kind of space day we are in international body then go to see the country as you know free from corruption or other things?
See, this international body what they talk about in the first place, we don't talk about the Institute of Chartered Accountants recommending that they need to talk about donor money for investigate. Why not donor money should be investigated? Because for the people of Sierra Leone, yeah, every country gets in your way. I'm talking about the law and the arms of government. I know the parliamentarians, the representation there, they will do their job due diligence. Not when they talk about Tawajis, no. Ever since in the history, we never see Usai, the committee of parliament don't audit. Auditor or don't do the work and pull that kind of money over 50 billion pass on that tower. You understand? So let we begin to think about the positive. Now we know certain people are where they are human beings. They go look at the political connections. That is why I'm saying if you're a professional, don't use politics. We see how Tawa gave out at the end of the day when he talked about your political party, it's still there. It don't mean say if you talk in conscience, it means say bad.
But so, then you get issue.
It doesn't matter, but he said it's mine.
But it matter in this case because if you
in this case, the matter if that case they don't reach for voting, let all of them, we urge them, may they use their conscience for the benefit of Mama Sierra Leone.
A lot of civil societies they don't pull position wherein they say they don't want even member of parliament them look into that issue for pull Lara. My question is it now waiting on putting your own position as civil society? Is it that if they pull Lara it will be okay?
I'm not saying it depends on the lens you they look at or how many they look at.
Now your position.
I am saying the job for the parliamentarians, we need to expect them to for it to be done properly. That is our advice. I'm not going to tell them go in favor of this or do the job for way it will benefit Sierra Leoneans, not so for individual or political parties.
All right, Melvin, if finally parliament agree for remove Lara and Deputy Tamba Momo, what in this mean? I asked Sundu the same question.
It will get a whole raft of implications. Firstly, on public perception, now that expert bodies like ICASL, BAN, Sierra Leone, and partners, they all add voice, and the Hindu side and other sub-regional bodies, they're all saying these people have not acted contrary in good faith. So they all don't support. So if parliaments come out for take a decision, say, well, despite all that, we remove them, it means those voices, those expert opinions have been discarded. Then it come now to what it mean for parliament itself. It will get a chain effect because, mind you, parliament already the PAC inside some of their audit report and they don't sanction some people for payback, some people for return corpus and all of these things. So it will mean if she is removed, it means that report is not credible. So all who that we name inside that report or all those institutions, they don't need to forget smart lawyer and go challenge the report itself for the fact that it has been found wanting, that the report was not done in good faith. So that is for that. And for the law, well, for the law, it will mean say the work with Supreme Court not able to do, Parliament don't do, because the Supreme Court supposed for not interpret whether the tribunal been get the mandate as per the Constitution for looking to that. So it will be a slap on the face of the Supreme Court that yes, they've neglected their duties and the lawmakers. And I think on the negative side, it go lower the public respect, it go lower the public perception about Parliament, and definitely that it will be very, very negative. So there are several consequences, and it will mean also say if Parliament remove them, that means say the presidency not being anything then do bad, and that means say the audit service now lie they lie. And what is going to mean? It also will be consequential on the work of the audit service, because it will mean say people are now it will open the floodgates of people who can challenge the methods, the approaches, and all these procedures that they use. So I think we don't even imagine the consequences. Above all, in terms of rating for accountability and transparency, mind you, this MCC thing is pegged on all those financial accountability and protocols. It will be a dent on that. So it's a very far-reaching decision the Parliament going to take for Pulamo, not for Pulam. Again, if Parliament decides not for Pulam, what's going to happen to him? What's going to be in faith? It will be returned. It go return back to the office.
For Tamba we make it clear, say.
According to sources, the board of audit service already does sack Tamba Momo, although in the claim that Ibido resigned before time. And there is this allegation that I was one of the people that helped scripted that interview where the Auditor General do with Epic and Slick. So I know where the questions came from and how we respond. But there is this thing that the impression where the Auditor General give, or the embattled Auditor General, is that it try to convey a feeling that, well, with waiting to happen to us, so people we hold their integrity high up there for begin consider how for work inside government. So it will mean say, well, accountability and transparency has been sacrificed in the altar of politics and all that. So it will be very, 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 very serious. And on that issue of, well, say the acting Auditor General was part of it. If you look at the document, and if you listen to insider sources, then they tell you say the acting Auditor General, who was by then the deputy charged with the duty of looking into probes of the Freedom City Council, then we already do an auditing. What is there is the auditing of a special donor-driven project. And well, I don't listen to so many people at the audit service. The acting Auditor General now being refused for certify the process, citing instances of him not being involved and the procedure has not been followed. So this again, the situation put the audit service under the radar as to how things are done there, but the blame game not send a good message about the supreme auditing institution at Sierra Leone. And also it seems as if there are personality attacks, whether from within or influenced by people outside. So there are several messages, but the ultimate thing there cannot be two ways about it. It's either you have the 2/3, then remove her, or you don't. And what happens to a situation of being suspended? Will she be reinstated? What happens with her half salary? Will she be now receiving full salary? What happens if she does not want the job anymore and resign? All of those things. So now make I say they want them way be the advice the president, particularly in the Department of Justice now alone. I think they not help the president well. Therefore don't do all these mathematics, do all these clarifications before reaching to this position, because as it stands, it seems as if public sympathy, the suspended Auditor General, the wheel on the back of public sympathy, and many people, although it depends on whether you talk. If you talk to pro APC people, they will tell you, say, now we don't want to cover up this government and so then this and that. If you talk to pro SLPP people, then they will tell you different. So it depends on where you are in the political divide. And for some of you not the APC or SLPP, I think our concern is these are monies meant for the people, for on behalf of the people who for deliver services. And if those services are not delivered, for me, I don't know if you're not SLPP or you're not APC, once you not deliver what is expected in terms of public financial accountability, then you should dance to the music. And unfortunately, in this case, it seems as if there are different standards for different auditing. One standard they say you can audit without seeking third-party clarification. Another standard they say there are certain funds you cannot audit. And for me, it's resting in another ICASL and others. Then provide specific provisions in the law, be it ICASL, be it Budget Advocacy Network, be it other proponents. They've not given us specific provisions, including that of the tribunal, in which the Auditor General breach or not breach. They are just talking scantily They are just, talking on, it's like superficial. If it's about law, tell me the provisions of the law. For example, we say you cannot seek third party clarification. If it's about law, tell me the provision of the law. We say audit service not for audit Freetown City Council. So let me specific. People are not just for express support or solidarity blindfoldedly. They should give us facts and specific references. And for me, the tribunal reports meet that threshold in my estimation. Now the tribunal reports me see I don't know those kind of documents then they with all due respect, so they give annexes following annexes. You know where following annexes, they say look at annex so there you go check in order the blank annex. If it was an academic piece of work, I wonder waiting the supervisor for them to do to that paper. But I think I cannot say the tribunal is entirely wrong or entirely right. Similarly, I cannot say the Auditor General is entirely wrong or entirely right until and unless we are provided with the laws specific that they've abrogated or not abrogated, for let them reach their decision, say they act in good faith or not in good faith. For me, I always be very reserved on some of the positions expressed either for or against the ousted or suspended Auditor General.
Are we having bad precedent in this?
Well, to arrive at saying it's a bad precedent, it's a matter of what the law says. If you say a bad precedent, now any law now bad than do as per the provisions of the law. If you say a good precedent, what specific provisions of the law buttresses to be a good precedent? So for me, I think it's a move that posterity is gonna judge, like where APC been sacked Sam Sumana, posterity now in judge. So in this case, I think let's that be reserved for posterity now that specific provisions of the law are not cited in favor of Lara or against Lara, and it's quite an interesting dilemma.
All right.
One thing I want to underline in this discussion, I don't want us to be emotional. Just like we talk about the provisions of the law. Are we saying the president did not follow the laws to suspend the Auditor General? That is another question. Or setting up the tribunal wasn't properly seated. That was the answer for the Supreme Court.
And they never looked into that. They never provided
an answer. In the area of the president, I think, not like what my brother mentioned, sacking of Sam Sumana without going through due processes. But in this case, I think the president went through the processes to suspend as to how they go about
waiting are your evidence, Mr. Sundu, because you don't confirm say the president go through the right process.
Supreme Court will clarify the process.
Well.
I say no more like Sam Sumana, like Lara.
Well. When you look at the sacking of Sam Sumana, which is supposed to go through or set up an investigative committee or tribunal, or send it to Parliament, right? In the case, that is what I mean exactly. Nothing was done like that. It's just the president that used his power or the executive power to do so. That is my point.
Your arguments are the few points, but similarly, if you cannot, the Supreme Court cannot clarify whether they are, for prosecute or for investigate a public officer, in this case, not a member of the judiciary. How you go use fisherman in your own benchmark for go judge carpenter? And that was the actual.
But if the same law, if the same law cover the judiciary and then cover the removal of the Auditor General and how you appoint judge and how you remove judge, if not the same law, so whether I cover fisherman or carpenter, that is my point.
The same
that
law.
Is my point.
The same law where you use to appoint judges is not the same law that you use to appoint the Auditor General. They say the Auditor General is appointed in tandem with the Public Service Commission, whereas the judges they are on the advice of the judicial.
We are talking about the remover.
You cannot talk about remover and you omit the appointment.
No, it's the remover we are talking about.
You cannot
so that's why
you cannot use
it in the quagmire. If the Supreme Court for don't look into it, even before the setting or for dissolve. That is my point. Right. So in this case, in as much as we are in the limbo that the Supreme Court will interpret the Constitution, like what they did. I will tell you recently. My brother know ECSL and the Attorney General's office. They were in court recently. They went there for provisions that if the ECSL has the right to conduct by-elections, the Attorney General said no. We have passed that, and there is no way of by-election. They went to court. The Supreme Court interpreted that. So in this case, we haven't seen Supreme Court in the favor of the Attorney General, not ECSL.
And what was ECSL's argument?
So ECSL's argument here was that they have the law to conduct all elections, and in this case,
what specific election was it?
You see, that is the area for us civil society. When we add, for us civil society and journalists, let's start to propagate issues that will bring serious problem, like this Supreme Court issue. I think so that even before the tribunal for one set, the Institute of Chartered Accountants, all civil society, ban and the like. Now that's in the pressure for don't they own. Let the Supreme Court come out and deal with issues like this.
So you see now why the president's decision is arguable now.
So that's the point.
He was saying, but it's arguable because the Supreme Court
clarified. Removal succeeded. What about those recommendations? Audit is not a court. They recommend. That is why the Parliament is there. You see, Parliament, even if they recommend, even if audit reports say even if the audit reports say this ministry or 98.1 don't do irregularities, don't eat this, don't siphon this money. Now Parliament therefore can call you back and don't say this is what the Auditor General said. They call you for probing. If they probe, they think what the Auditor General said is right, they will tax you. And now they are so for repayment. The one they will not find guilty, they set them free. That is the point.
Continue for the between inside the program, Mr. Sundu. We'll go for a short music break. We'll go start for take calls inside the program. Call and give contribution. We'll get with first caller on the line. Good afternoon. Your name and who you the call from? Your name and who you the call from, sir?
Yeah, me and Mr. Tula, they call now.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, you panelists them, the one, this guy for bringing the facts, the balance is factor, Mr. Sundu. And we will talk and a public station like this, you get for bring the facts to the people, but they still like say the balance is fact. How you go compare some money in removal, they can't compare to Lagati Lopias, but due process. Sometimes the analysis where they make them equally. Yes. So thank you very much.
All right. Plenty, thank you for your contribution. 0779819181. Good afternoon, you name and who call from. Yeah. Good afternoon, you name and who call from.
Yeah, my name Chu. I call from Tibet.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
Please, but we're living at the man this country now. We're on the streets, we only pray to God, let God make us. Right now, we cannot do smoke on money to this, on money to that. But we pray to God, let God make us.
All right, talk louder, small, please, sir.
At the whole of the youth man, maybe they so right now. Now they pray to God, let God make it easy for we there. Right now, we cannot do but cooking and all day at the country right now. But they pray to Allah, let Allah make it easy.
All right, plenty, thank you for your contribution. 0779819181. Good afternoon, your name and who side you call from?
I'm call from Dubai.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
Good afternoon. Another attorney has to do like I let you I analyze. Do between this and money issue and Madam Piaz. I want to clarify that how do they employ Piaz and Santumana? How do they tackle them go to Parliament or go to Supreme Court? So let explain you to the about Santumana issue. No, the difference. Have an explanation about for tax Santumana when legal. Thank you.
All right, plenty. Thank you for your contribution. 0779819181. Call and give contribution inside the program or sending a message. And this one I will take say good afternoon, Radio Democracy. Melvin is a very clever speaker. The issue of former Auditor General should not be compromised by state or non-state actors because it will not good for the country. There are audited reports in former Auditor General tenure that are still haunting some public servants. Therefore, if the tribunal report found her guilty, then so be it. But a member of parliament should not compromise the tribunal report or else undermine state institutions like law officers department and the judiciary of Sierra Leone. I come out from Aruna Kamara and Wellington. 0779819181. Good afternoon. You name and side you call from?
And inside I call from Central.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I Melvin they say the Auditor General of States which again the right for go to a third party for confirm the authenticity of the receipt. Well, I don't say them, we don't explain. Then see you get two types of audit. You get financial audit, they get performance audit. Financial audit, now you need the person with the audit, the approval, because we the right for bank statement now the banks. The person with the audit, therefore, go sign the documents, the application we send to the banks before ever the bank will provide a statement for you. But in this case, that state house a performance audit. And I heard the chief minister 90, no, na AYB very recently. They talk say the Auditor General change audit report where the people who will go do the examination at the office of the president present to them. That's not the case. When auditors go now start in place for audit, now all data then they will collect. Now the office of the Auditor General and they collate this data, then fine tune them before they put another voluminous book they will see. So when putting the argument say they change audits, these are just officers of audit service. And I draw your email me back, I'll be that another day. Another area was very important where I want to talk about this advocate. In fact, even on treason trial, for me, apart and say treason trial where I'm a man and commit that kind of crime, now the peers for tried, that is the military. But in the process of trying them, then they come with somebody who not judge for interpret within the law say. Now that people then they talk about, then when for don't count with people when accountants then, for deal with them so that this will get the job done properly. But voting is satisfied and believing. People are not the rotting, evidence of the rotting. That same all these reports where they use against CPC. These documents are available and are available to everybody. May anybody see them with 10 days. Tomorrow I can't tell you not to lie, them with a lie. Because they receipts then they if them will not deny you not to do, many count the actual receipt. But they've not done that. And then they're acting Auditor General. But the woman don't tell you now. They say the department is divided to various subsections. Local councils, now the acting Auditor General are supposed to examine them or audit them. They say so if now the queen we say will bias will not audit the local council, we one of them split out the council. It's not a work in my winner, they are acting Auditor General. And my own case, if I even more serious, because according to accounting standards, anybody will not to certify auditor, not to sign financial statement, and the financial statement of government in this instance, not the audit report. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your contribution. 0779819181. Good afternoon. Your name and where you call from?
Good afternoon, Usman. Concerned citizens Atlantic.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, man. Yeah, let's you two get there. At least, Melvin, you have made my day. I mean, this is not the same we expect we people and go to the media for debate honestly. You know, call things by their proper name. I'm not waiting you guys to, but at least we learn from Melvin. And Melvin, once more, you made my day. May God bless you. And then to the point. And then the Auditor General, I believe you know what you government for do. You know the ethics and procedure of doing our job. That council money when I talk about. If money not go inside council, account, how we could go audit council. Because of we leaders them, the past and another way to because of they do things with impunity, corruption. They don't know country themselves, I don't know the driven country. Whether they can themselves, they can implement them programs them. They can't spend the money and waiting. How you go audit city council where money don't go inside and Coopers. You see, I mean, make they call things by their proper name and to talk the actual tell kind of this. Now the media, make we know they can't distinct people there. I just me concern, may God help you. Thank you.
Plenty, thank you for your contribution. 077981981. This other message I will take from now. Say, Mr. Sundu, thanks very much this afternoon. I like the way you are articulating the issues. And this other one say, good afternoon, Radio D. Let Sierra Leonean hear the truth today. Lara Telopias is deeply involved into politics. She is a close friend of the First Lady of Sierra Leone. After making a close friend of the First Lady, and then wrote that kind of audited report for her husband, it is ridiculous. That is honest truth. She deserves, come out from concerned citizen. And this other one say, thanks very much to these two studio guests this afternoon. Thanks for your awareness. 077981981, calling your contribution inside the program this afternoon. Mr. Sundu, some caller they ask question, and you will start for respond to some of the messages.
Well, some small issue come inside for me. Colleague speaker we mentioned say not to like the removal of Sam Sumana. Not coming to topic. I just make mention that the president, waiting. It thinks if for do for remove or suspend the Auditor General, I think say he do the correct provisions. That was the issues. So for make a clarify say how Anes for don't set up a tribunal, how if for go how them for impeach Sam Sumana if for go through Parliament, all on one day we just make mention of that it not be go through the process he use in executive power. In this case, I say President Bio use the provisions way in under the law supposed for suspend the Auditor General, he do and set up a tribunal. For me, I make mention say even the Supreme Court, that case where we don't go there. Now that's we where they write and talk for don't make sure say let Supreme Court give an hearing like we then do for ECSL and the Attorney General. For make we know because and then they interpret the law. In case the president take the wrong step, make we know it's in the happen. So in the clarification that's exactly a need. We talk about not in any way for say President Kuruma for don't sack Sam Sumana illegal way like we say he do.
All right. We get calls them inside the program before over to Melvin. Good afternoon. Your name and who side you call from?
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, go ahead. Your contribution.
This is for Melvin. Mr. Melvin, make the fire burning at this country. May God continue for people. Now, when I can't journalists that will pray for this country. You don't say why they list here, radio, whatever side. Then I use my really they try. May God continue to cover you. Keep the fire burning. May God bless you, sir.
All right, plenty. Thank you for your contribution. 077981981, and this other one say the same audit report we then the grumble for now. Now the same one JJ Safami say any government will not implement audit report not serious. All right, and this other one say I hope Parliament will not vote to remove Lara and her deputy Tambamomo because this will send a very bad signal to the country. And this other one say as of now international community don't start for the question the credibility of the country in terms of transparency and accountability. And this other one say the president needs sober people for the advisor, even though not to the president they handle in administrative business, but the president for put foot down a come out from Emmanuel. 077981981, calling your contribution inside the program this afternoon. Melvin, I think you get some messages to him.
Yeah, I think so. We describe what gets what we call a comparative analysis of which are submitting like Lara, like Sam Sumana. Firstly, the similarities, one commonality, then a removal they talk about, and in the case of the president, I go on for encourage listeners and followers for read the provisions of section 51 of the Constitution of Sierra Leone. In this case, unlike Madabio, him reached to the point of going to Parliament, and Eskroma did not channel that removal in Parliament. So now +1 to Madabio and -1 to Anes. But the minus to Madabio now that unlike Anes Kroma, he may go and go get what I will call a Supreme Court opinion. Madabio in your Supreme Court not get any opinion. So it's almost similar case but different context because the similarities are outlined. So that now at the points I will try for is Madabio it expedite the process but blindly, if I'll put it, because if the Supreme Court now would tell you whether that tribunal they been get the legal basis for let them former, it's just like the same way you not even go Parliament. So I mean they get a commonality that the processes and the procedures not wholeheartedly be followed.
All right, Melville, I'll just take this calls, the call inside the program. Good afternoon. Your name and who side the call from?
Yeah, really happen.
Your name and who side the call from, sir?
But as listening, World Vision, all the other institutions, one day EU, I don't see one day we say auditors is the audited. So what is that now?
All right. Hello?
Yeah.
Go ahead with your contribution, sir.
Now I say one day we not see World Vision, how they call it, DC, all the other international, one day EU, one day the auditors is not the audited. They get the auditors. So the question that I actually talk to anyone who really kind of auditor.
All right. Plenty thank you for your contribution inside the program this afternoon. Melvin, you hear from that. You say team one day. All right, well, I'll take another call inside the program. Good afternoon, you name and who side the call from?
Yeah, Podi from Lomley.
Go ahead, sir.
If you say if you live in this country or Africa in general, honest to the people, like in a use loopholes inside the laws for escape anytime we do wrong thing to the citizenry. We don't see this so happen in Kenya. I think as if the same trend that just continue in Africa. So sorry.
All right. Melvin, you can continue from Musa you stop.
Well, I think the callers on this argument on why should we not forget different standards. And for me, that was where they ask why if World Vision and Defeat then they audited. Well, they are audited but not by the government of Sierra Leone. Mm-hmm. And let me state, if they are implementing any project for and on behalf of the people of Sierra Leone, auditing not necessarily, go and read section 119 of the Constitution. It's not just about the funds, but even documents. So, because Freedom City Council is a public office, all projects attached under which directly the money can do or not can they, then get a duty for either audit the documents or audit the funds. And I see the argument to people and they make that the money not directly can at the Consolidated Revenue Fund and the PFM Act to get exemption. But the fact remains that any money we now for and on behalf of the people of Sierra Leone should be audited. So now that person they ask why make World Vision and Defeat not be audited. I don't say you see that because of the specific project. Now ask yourself why with the MCC they are jointly audited between the government of Sierra Leone and the US government. Why? Because America knows say this money is meant for and on behalf of the people. Then we get all chance to say, okay, well, this is our money, we look out to your auditing firm. But no, if you look at the project implementation agreement, then they tell you say the auditing should be jointly done. Why? Because the Americans
no say Sierra Leone.
Because of them no say now their money but for the fact that they don't say this is a compact, it is meant for and on behalf of the people. So then give yourself a say for being joint parts of the auditing. So that is the case. You're right. If that NGO car is in corpo, now in corpo, fine. But once in the channel and through government ministries or any institution, now my argument and it captured in section 119 and in subsections, I think it's 6 or 5. So that is that for that issue. And of course the callers, everybody gets an opinion. But I think say if we be just, if we be true to we conscience. I know council also they expect say the presidency for be audited, and I can't say no. Freetown City Council not for be audited. That is called politicization of the fight for accountability.
All right. Maybe
The same strength we use for audit SLPP, or for use and back for APC, or whosoever, be you political or not.
Okay. I'll take the call inside the program quickly. Good afternoon. Name and inside the call from.
My name's Taido.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
Melvin, you know very well, see, every year in the Audit City Council. Very recently, Parliament asked for a special audit. When this very audit service, and they do the audit on City Council. But more we realize one thing. Nobody knows we say merit audit City Council. But then only they audit you for money when they hit your account. For instance, if they give this money directly to council, they go and cancel their account where the officials are taking this to that money there. When they audit them, it will actually reflect on council. But the one within they appoint or appoint a project coordinator, we not in the handle the funds. If audit say they are auditor, well I'm good. But you know, totally reflect on council as they have been disbursed the money. The money is being disbursed by this agency where the donor provide for make look the books after the project has been completed. And normally, in fact, for EU projects, they get people in the common process, auditors, they can do the auditing. So, you know, anything wrong, anybody who want audit council, and will officially do every year, go through audit reports all these years. Maybe tell you that last audit report where that last audit where Parliament asked for the audit council, that's where we always don't know. We say they pay for somebody when a special assistant to the mayor for go and complaints in England. They compare that to waiting the office of the first lady they do. Now we always don't know. When they say, you know, for compare the office of the first lady. But these are state institutions, when our state money that they spend on behalf of the people of this country. So I think say that makes them more realize that's it.
Okay.
I wouldn't stop council for being audited anyway.
Plenty, thank you for your contribution. 077981981. Good afternoon, name and inside the call from. Please come on your radio set.
Good afternoon, concern city.
Go ahead, sir.
And Melvin, me get problem. Me always say, me no get problem with leaders them. Now waiting in the Bible, now then they use we making collapse that supreme executive authority. You know, to have secret power corrupt actually have tried well-being. Now in the Lion and President you used to that supreme executive authority. And now that made them say we forget out of the constitution. Like we know above waiting. You know, that's not the problem. That is my concern. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your concern inside the program. That number, the few calls. I'll go over to you, Mr. Sundu. Somebody, the last caller just mentioned, say it's hard time for the pull supreme executive order from the constitution. You in a position on that?
Well, you know, there's a way you draw rope they draw bush. Now that kind of thing, the forest all they come. You know, Mark you just mentioned, you know, the removal of Sam Sumana, people and ask question, waiting happen. This same constitution, you know, so a review will don't take place. And one of the things we blessed memory, the late Justice Cowan, be recommend, and it's boldly recommend say that supreme executive power for be reduced to chief executive authority. Then that will be don't come up. But always happen up till now with constitution they under review. So we only say this book we the color they recommend say with Bible. Now you get this country here. Now through this book, all the precedents same. They use the law where it right and appropriate at the right time for them. Now they use. So I recommend myself they agree with and say, let we look into the constitution for see. And most of them say where they happen. Like we, you know, we analyze about, you know, the presidents in power and how for remove or under section 119. The same remover. Do you what they, you know, review constitution? Let me look into that. The lawmakers. Because these are all lacunas. A lot of things that happen over the years. We for the see now how we for embed them into a constitutional review. which is very integral. The other caller they make, mention of, city council. One of the things we made is say, whether a donor fund, we dey work for donors or external people, their money, now then they give you the money, and then get when you go into NGO and NGO walls, now then they give you the formats, how you implement some projects. In fact, the auditing manual, now then get some. How you for do the financial reporting, then get some, right? But any money we connected to Sierra Leone, like they talk about this compact. Me and Melville within a parliament, and this MCA, what did they do? They make sure say they give Sierra Leone the owners for set up the institution about auditing, about work, about procurement, but nothing all the way that they do where they relate them to the MCC. It ain't tangents, not then too. The reason being, not the money, but based on always the happen, the no one for left that money they give we the Sierra Leoneans because of always on the happen. I think that's the best measure. You count your money, you meet with the government set up in your platform, you set there for overseeing. Yeah? If you look into that MCC agreement, set inside and the way they talk about disposable, even items, property that we then get for use for do all in work there. In case we become faulty or default, I want to tell you say all in property then they go back to the American government, not to we get them. That is why we are saying when it comes to transparency and accountability, let people then become now strong in that. Let we always make sure say we implement money them we they for stipulated projects. It go fine for we country because why the audits they get all of this as I be mentioned, but then backlog of cases. All of this why SLPP use the auditor general's report now because they don't pack the report in a parliament. The parliamentarians do not do nothing about them. Now in the SLPP use, and they always tell you say even if this government come out, any other government can. The same audit report is going to be used against the same administration. So then they're not way clear, right? About the Supreme Law, let we wait. Let the Constitution, the term reach as white people don't come out, or we go into referendum, we side them for vote for, waiting for fit say, we put on the. But Mr. Foy that a sexist power is too much. When they see America, even though Donald Trump don't claim all sin, but certain thing and they to God, they not get for able for do one because they get limited veto. Okay. We do not get for accept them.
All right. The last message we are going to take as we wrap up this program. This person say it's at time the president should not appoint or pick the Chief Justice or IG.
Well, this all on the into the Constitution. We get committee. Well, we see under the then Pakaba, all of them say they be there, right? The Judiciary Committee they way for choose. We get ex judges, people that we don't work. We get the respect that then for sit on the council recommend. Yeah, but the president can get in interest because even in the America, also talk about the Supreme Court judges that we then get 9. You will see where these governments come, then get the way they put. You go see where this self come, then get the one where they put. So it's all over the world. It just depends on the individual way they in that seat. How it go look at something where go good for the nation.
All right.
A very integral.
Okay, Lord, just take this last lucky caller. Good afternoon. Your name and where you call from?
Yeah, I call from Manchester.
Okay.
I just want to ask if Melvin will know anything about this act. We are the supplement to the Sierra Leone Gazette with a volume C10NV. But I don't know, some areas still that have them act, they talk about, I think part 3. But part 4 is specifying that in part 2, part 3 is talk of the functions of the auditor and the powers of the auditor service. I'm not able to read that through, but I don't know how that will relate in terms of that area with donor funds and the type of project and the one that we involve in disbursing the project. Because a separate thing, because you can get procurement where they do the procurement. Because that's the area where they can look into the area of loss. So, but when some of the funds they come at the FCC, I don't know if their procurement area be done and the recruitment by the one that will bring the fund. So some of the limits, I don't know if the act limits. Because when it will talk of say, therefore all these funds, funds, which we all know the entry point is very important. So, but the factor is I would say, if the law is specified to say if you do this, that this you will get, or then just they play around the constitution where they hope say this law book will able to be amended. So what is specified area will say when the law book audit the donor fund, which I like the act, or then just explain them in an open way. Because now we know that they say, well, that's the area where the Institute of Chartered Accountants, they're not specified. For saying, well, that's how it is. But then they say, according to the act, because they say act in a parliament. So you see all these acts there, who sign are the one I wouldn't take? Or are these things done according to the law? Because we don't have to undermine the credibility of anything when I think we have to monitor how funds they live in that country. Thank you so much. May God bless the nation. Thank you, sir.
Alright, plenty thank you for your contribution. That now the last lucky caller we go take inside the program this afternoon. Melvin.
So my brother within Manchester, plenty thank you to Una within the diaspora as now self they pay attention to issues back home. Let God keep Una there and Una self not forget to say Una come out. So he asked me for specific reference. And this time I be done earlier on mention say if you dey support say Lara get right, not for audit, Freetown City Council, if you know on what basis even Lara and lawyers do not give any specific provisions of any law or secondary law, primary law. So let me tell you who say a bank on. We say any money we come for and on behalf of the people should be audited. This is my banking. If you look at the Constitution, section 119, the side note now establishment of the audit service, Sierra Leone, and subsection 2, you read if you permit me. It says the public accounts of Sierra Leone and all public offices, including the courts, the accounts of the central and local government administrations, of the universities and public institutions of like nature, any statutory composition, company or other body or organization established by an act of parliament or statutory instrument or otherwise set up partly or wholly out of public funds shall be audited and reported on by or on behalf of the Auditor General, and for the purpose the Auditor General shall have access to all books. So now when you talk about say the funds, it's not just about funds. Listen now. It said to all books, records, returns and other documents relating or relevant to those accounts. So it not mean say you dey go na the money per se the Auditor General get right to go check. But they tell you about the books, records and all that. So the argument that okay the money not can at the Freetown City Council account is not it's not a primary argument, it's secondary, because primarily Freetown City Council fall under the category of public institution, and if we talk about local councils, so generally the constitution is above all law. Even if you have for carry with the Public Financial Management Act, if you have for carry with other subsidiary acts, they cannot be superior than the constitution. So the constitution give the audit service the latitude not to only for look inside donor money, but the relevance where then gets to the public accounts. You can say okay the public accounts are money no more way generated by and for the people. No. Anything you ever do will get bearing to that. So for me, that exemption then it speaks to the art of selective calls. We cannot say matter be in government for accountable and state house for money where they say they make fake receipts for. Though at the same time we want to use different standards when it comes to Yvonne Akisoya. That is politicization of the fight for transparency and accountability. If we want for let government in corporate or any corporate kind of salon be used judiciously, we'll not forget two different standards. Because at the end of the day, them money then they now for either provide services and for and on behalf of the people of Sierra Leone. So the same, of course, the presidency gets more weight. And if we check the money, then they I've asked people there, check the amount of money we not audited in Freetown City Council and check the amount of money we unaccounted for in the presidency. let somebody just do the math. Uswambo passing company. If we use simple logic, Uswambo passing company, then you can now answer the question, why is it important that all of them be audited? Because at the end of the day, now for change the lives of Sierra Leoneans when they suffer, we are still among the poorest nations. We are still among seriously hungry nations. We are still among unhappy people. And if all that they be incorporated in the car, why make this for look at seriously from a nationalistic perspective? There are global reports where say over half of the monies where international community then cancel for where them bring in this country for Ebola and Corona. International report then they will indicate say half of them money then they don't know them go and back. So how you want use we own facts for fry we? Then Sierra Leoneans then they say no, I donor copper. Wait, na donor copper. Donor copper is subjected to auditing, be it governmental auditing or independent auditing, as the case may be, upon the terms of agreement of them contract. Then they agree on that. But to say they should not be audited, I beg for differ, because the constitution of Sierra Leone not say so. So I agree with that person where they say we need to look at the constitution, but my brother Sundu they talk about, well, I mean, the SLPP government from Bulelo, we understand they've already put out a position on waiting they accept and not accept now the white paper on the constitutional review. And once where they reject now that they say they're not gonna no problem for let the president be the supreme executive or chief executive officer of the country. So that's in order for change. Certain things that we already don't know, and I think so the media and the civil society we need to take time for look at waiting SLPP don't say then they agree on for review and witnessing or they not they agree on. So some
subjected
of them
to the approval of Parliament.
well, now waiting them put now white paper now Parliament gets option for accept or reject.
That
If
is
you not
it.
show face day, in order day.
Yeah.
If the paper not talk anything about removing supreme executive of Parliament, not gonna nothing for go put today.
Yeah.
Parliament they only deal with it today before them. So I think the process should be done in good faith, and we have indeed serious issues. But for Parliament, I think these are gonna be another litmus test on the drive towards ensuring that public resources are well kept, and the way they manage them themselves, they ask the answer to serious questions. So I think that is quite key. Thanks so much to the callers, and I think most of the views them all resonate, and many people they appreciate. I thank you so much for that.
Mr. Sundu, as we wrap up the program, what will be your message and expectation for Member of Parliament?
Well, as they say, let we talk the law. And when you look at, under Section 119, just like we allude, all money with the for and on behalf of Sierra Leoneans, whether it come through, NGO support, but then books and they not necessarily mean say now for siphoned the money, but now based on documentary facts, irregularities, as I'm not talking here, all this not there for charge you in a court, then they for probe, for see who sides in and they will not work and recommend. Now that will go for no. Let we know exactly the work of the audit report. Audit report not to court. Yeah? Somebody talk now say JJ Safar talk say if any government will not implement audit report. That is fact. Because if audit report and recommendations where they don't they do over the years, if they don't they recommend, if they don't they implement them, believe you me, ministries, departments, and agencies, their internal auditors, then we didn't get it. They listen to them as professional heads in those ministries. They not just they pay them, then listen to them, who sign them for probe into documentations, when it comes to request, waiting them for advice, they're integral. But as we they say, the politicization of those institutions, yeah, why you say, why you go say you go audit the presidency and not auditing the city council? All under the politicization of institutions. We are saying, for as long as the money is meant for Sierra Leoneans, it should be audited. Right. And let us not forget back, the NGO, let people understand, because we can them program and for educate to people. The NGO world now non-governmental organizations. So man, they get in donor support. Now how you donor, they send you, and they give you how in your finance reports they go. Now based on that in financial menu, they go. You understand? How you they report, how they give you, how they do the auditing, now then get some. Now they set up their own criteria. If you fulfill them well, then they continue to give you money. Where you not implement well, they're not going to give you money. So it's different from government. Yeah? Now we understand that. But any money, as we use the MCC, where they don't consider them, because they know say they don't get that, power they for Crown Hall. What they do, they set up a body where we work with the MCC. MCC is Sierra Leone. Now they oversee the $480 million. Okay. Now they go do this, now they go do that. But in tangents, and mark you, anything will default in that document. The other day, me and my brother sit down on one of the sister program where they talk about if government change na America. One thing you always say, when once document don't go na that parliament, they don't legislate them. If we Donald Trump don't win, what to me they say a lot of defaults we own part. Because for default then go give we the breakout. But if we follow them, strict to central, we implement them. Because it already passed now parliament into law.
Yes, so Nula just candy. I think what thank you people hope with the MCC now that power don't change and Washington. Remember, where them be signed the MCC compact, we were told, in fact it's written, that it's subjected to the next phase, which is congressional review. Yeah. And as it stands, the new Congress is a different composition already. And definitely there are questions we're going to ask on implementations and all of that. Right. So like you said, the government for play in own part
better.
But for me, I will not be surprised if I see some changes or some more pressure coming from Washington, because there is a change of government. And let me not forget, the policy of the Republicans is MAGA, make America great again. Well, I guess the politician and I also na free tongue for the try forget a policy of make Sierra Leone great again. Because with MAGA,
my good governance program for today. Okay. Never make promises that you cannot fulfill or actualize because you want to gain political position. Okay. Let Sierra Leonean be for Sierra Leone. Me say for Yeri today. We don't love the land now. What see America don't do. What see Trump do? He was having the message. Even though I'm he for she, but it came with a message that I will make America great. I will make sure the economy is buoyant. I will bring more jobs. So let Sierra Leone, our politicians, me I want for Yeri, then Lebanese shop, then India shop. We are not racist, but let people and they get the satisfactory job, not so for work or push Omolanke or for work for them people and live. Yeah. Let Sierra Leone be for Sierra Leoneans. Let we make sure say we bother them be very mad. Let we resources do for ourselves. We said they take that ownership to leaders now. And when law don't come, you allow they deal with the law. The Supreme Court, when I don't begin fine between ECSL and the Attorney General, we respect say Lyra, even though I don't see don't know you for looking to a tribunal don't say because I'm there for interpret the law. Now don't bring all this lacuna. Because if the Supreme Court may interpret the law, say the president has the right to set up a tribunal. If we don't come into this or you not get right. Now the thing there before Parliament, we pray that we parliamentarians will deal with their conscience. Yeah? Let them do the work for the people of Sierra Leone.
Plenty thank you. We join inside the program. My name is Solomon Sundu, Executive Director for Bianchi Foundation, assuming there for look at the issue of Lara. As Parliament gets the final say whether they go pull them or not. And plenty thank you to a senior colleague, Melvin Tijan Mansari, we in a parliamentary reporter in Sef Dongiwi in your position on the issue of Lara as Parliament. Now then gets the final say. Plenty thank you guys who are joining inside the program this afternoon.